Good afternoon. Many of you may be wondering who I am. My name is Jeremy Babb, and I was born right here in Crab Hill, St. Lucie. Many years ago, I went off to live in New York. I was about 11 when I left Barbados. But because Barbados is my home, I came back every summer. One of those summers, 16 years ago, I met Corey. We instantly became friends. Sometimes I wouldn't remember where certain places in Barbados was, and he would take me around. On many of our adventures, we bonded. We bonded over a shared love of food. We bonded over a shared love of music. We bonded over a shared love of the beach and sun. We bonded over a shared love of girls. We had so many adventures together. I still remember vividly all of the carnivals, all the festivals, and all the parties that we went to together. In addition to those fun aspects of life, we also shared our hopes and dreams. We dreamed of winning the lottery. We dreamed of meeting the perfect girl who would love us for who we were. And he dreamed of leaving Barbados. He wanted to find a comfortable point in life where he could have a career and he could have a family and find meaning and purpose in everything that he did. When I received word that Corey had died, I was in complete shock and disbelief. To learn of the manner in which he died, how he was shot to death, it made absolutely no sense to me. I live in New York where gun violence is relatively common. Yet I don't know anyone in New York who's ever died as a result of a shooting. But and it still boggles my mind that it's happened here in Barbados. I don't associate Barbados with guns and crime. For me, Barbados has always been paradise. It's the island of sand and surf. It's someplace fun. So when I heard of how he died, I thought to myself that something is very wrong with this picture. I just couldn't wrap my head around the cold and lonely manner in which he died. It was very sad to me that he died in this way where it seemed like his life didn't matter, that it was meaningless. I have two young children, and I have never spent a night away from them. But I decided to fly to Barbados this morning for one day. I only came here for one day, but I had to come here and speak about Corey to show that his life was extraordinarily important and that it was not meaningless, that he was someone that mattered tremendously. He mattered to me, he mattered to his family, he mattered to his friends, he mattered to this country. And it's obvious by the hundreds of people that have gathered here today that he truly mattered. I always admired Corey because he was someone who had a very difficult start in life. His mother died of cancer when he was very young, and he never knew his father. That's something that we had in common, and that's something that we bonded over. Despite those circumstances, Corey was able to resist the life of drugs and crime. He could have easily drifted into the negative aspects of life, but he never did. He was completely removed from that. He was someone that always talked about right and wrong. He was a forward thinker. He was a dreamer, a peacekeeper. He was kind, he was smart. And even though I had the opportunity to go very far academically in life, I could have the most interesting conversations with Corey about politics and world events. He was a great person to talk to. I never knew who my father was. One summer I discovered his name. I learned that he lived somewhere in the capital of Barbados, Bridgetown, and that he was the owner of several minivans. So I told Corey, I'm going to go search for my dad. And Corey immediately said, well, you know what, Jeremy, I'm going to come with you. And we spent the entire day walking up and down at the minivan depots, asking around for this person that we believed to be my father. And eventually someone said, yeah, I know him. And they pointed us in the direction of where my father lived. So after many hours, we eventually found him. You would think that the experience of meeting your father for the one and only time in your life would be what you remember most about that day. But it was not. What I remember most is that Corey was with me. He was right by my side the entire time. I don't remember what my father looked like. I don't really remember what we talked about, but what I do remember is that I had my friend, my companion with me. Every summer he was by my side, and I can't believe that those adventures are now over. We had plans. I stopped coming to Barbados every year a few years ago. The last time I was here was in 2012. Corey would call me often actually, and always asked when I was coming home again. I had planned to come this summer, but I postponed the trip. I never imagined that I wouldn't see him again. I thought that we would have a lifetime together. I thought that he would get the opportunity to come and visit with me in New York. I spoke with Corey a few days before he died, and I told him that I had finally bought plane tickets for me and my family to come to Barbados in early 2016. He was very excited, and so was I. Then the call came, and suddenly all those hopes and dreams faded. While he had met my daughter, he had never met my son. I kept thinking, why didn't I go to Barbados in 2015 like I had intended? Why did I postpone it? Or why didn't I talk on the phone longer every time that he called? But ultimately, those hopes and dreams that we had will never fade. They will live on in me. They will live on in my wife and my children. They will live on in his brother, and his sister, and his nephew, and the rest of his family. Those dreams and hopes will live on in his friends. They will live on in this country. They will live on in all of you. He was someone who mattered. Someone who meant something to all of us. And we will honor his memory and not let his death be in vain. He made the world a better place in life, and he will continue to do so in death. I sent Corey a picture of my children shortly before he died. And I'm now going to play you the last voice message that he sent to me.